Good morning, live from Radio Row. This is Roy Kessel for Sports Philanthropy Network, and we're very excited to have with us Dave Meltzer. Dave's been a longtime friend of the network and has been very supportive of our efforts. And uh, love having you here today. I know you bring so much energy to the room, so much excitement here. So tell us some of the new initiatives that you're involved with.
I love that. First, I want to thank you because in the world of sports, where I was born into it with Lee Steinberg, not as many people understood the purpose of sports, which was to elevate awareness for a purpose or a cause. To elevate awareness when Evander Holyfield went on his PSA, public service announcement, to say real men don't hit women, it meant much more. And for the Sports Philanthropy Network to elevate awareness to different purposes and causes around the world has the most impact because of the energy behind sports. And obviously, with the shield on you and the things that you're doing, I want to thank you most of all because the things that I'm working on today are helped by what you do every day. And so, my first thing that I'm working on, I work a lot now in entrepreneurship, in sports and business, is the Napoleon Hill Institute. I was recently appointed the chairman of Napoleon Hill Institute, which is the seminal personal development god. If you haven't read Think and Grow Rich or Outwitting the Devil, it's guaranteed to change your life. And so for me, utilizing a community of 500 million people that have read Think and Grow Rich and Outwitting the Devil, How to Sell Through Life and Others, is an extraordinary opportunity, not only to elevate the ideas of what we believe we can achieve, but more importantly, to help the networks and the friends that I've had like you that spend endless hours pouring in to a community of people that want to help each other and know people that can help each other.
Well, one of the things I've always admired from the first time we met is the way that you give back. You bring so many people into your circle, you empower them, right? We see, as you've said from the beginning, your goal is to empower a billion people.
Over. Don't limit
Over a
us,
billion.
right? Yeah.
Okay. Don't want to short sell
Yeah,
it
yeah.
here. But the idea is you're creating that energy, you're creating that power, which means so much. So when we look around this room, right, there's 170 media outlets, everybody's running, everybody's talking, but there's few of them that are really taking the step up to empower others in the community. And we've been fortunate, as you see here with our wall of philanthropy, we're going to have you do your card to stick it up there as well. But you've been part of our events, part of our Sports Philanthropy World Conference. We're going to be doing it again now, hosted by KPMG in Chicago, June 26th and 27th this year. So we'll get summer dates, which will be a lot better. Um, People don't want to come to Chicago in December, fun fact. But the idea is everywhere, every time you've been involved, you've brought in some great influencers with you, team owners, high level athletes, people who recognize the power that sports has to change lives and transform communities.
Absolutely. And I think I learned that from Lee Steinberg, to give him credit. And I called it the bug light approach. And it's that people are attracted to the biggest names and the biggest stages. So when you provide a huge stage in Chicago with the biggest names in sports and philanthropy, it's going to attract more people that are of like essence or frequency, I call it. That's why I always say our neighborhood, our community is a frequency. So when we bring in the Austin Ecklers and the Marshall Falks and the Hunt family and the Rooney family and all of these different people, everybody gets excited and it just exponentially expands the community and the ideas of the best way that we can provide value is to give people more of what they like and take away what they don't like.
Well, the part about what they like, what I found interesting when I first started doing this is there were so few athletes really involved in this space. As you said, Lee was one of the pioneers of recognizing the power that athletes had for philanthropy. You could take a relatively mid-level athlete, right? You don't need
A
to be
local
Tom
athlete,
Brady,
right?
you
A
don't need
local
to be
known
Peyton Manning,
athlete, correct.
but they can transform things in their community. They can rally a lot of attention. And so now more and more athletes are recognizing that. But the struggle we've seen in this space is how few of them are doing it in sort of a professional manner, right? A lot of haphazard activities, like I'll do an appearance here, I'll do a signing there, which really isn't, as we say, that's not giving of your heart and soul, right? The athletes typically, for things that they know, sign autographs, take pictures, play in golf outings, go to fundraising dinners. And those are all celebrity functions, and they're fine, but that's not the roll up your sleeves and do the work. And so when you've done all your work in entrepreneurship, one of the things that you really talk about a lot is taking people and helping teach them to really implement and execute their vision.
Yeah, for sure. And what you have to teach, especially a young athlete, is those four are the starting place, right? We crawl before we walk, before we run. So you got to give them exposure to how great it feels and the value that they receive by giving. And they elevate their awareness to what they're given by giving. And then you also elevate their awareness to how difficult it is actually to receive themselves and ask for more, ask for money. How many athletes end up putting their own money into their foundations because they don't have faith in the purpose of what they're creating? And so I take young athletes, give them those four, get them acclimated and aware, and then help them for the rest of their lives. Like you said, get aligned with the skills, knowledge, and desire, but also understand the relativity to their community, the association with their community, and then what feeds them in the aspect of that purpose. Because as long as I can maintain their purpose to be greater than the pain, they will create the discipline in that commitment that they had to sports to helping other people.
And you hit on a really interesting point that we look at a lot is you talk about the athletes putting in their own money, and we see when we look at the 990s and when we do our analysis and research, very few of the athletes put in any substantial amount of their money, right? They're relying on others, and too often they're, in my view, getting bad advice, right? Oftentimes from the agent. Having been one, I can say that, right?
And me
That,
too.
yeah. And one of the things that we see is they're kind of led down this road to believe that their foundation is going to be the lifeblood of supporting them when they're done with their career, right? And for people that have made 7 and 8 figures a year, their foundations don't have a scale to justify even $150,000 salary, much less
Seven
a
figures.
$1 million salary,
Right.
right? And so the challenge that we see is you can't raise enough money. You can't put in enough of your own money unless you're a mega star, right? Maybe Tiger can do that, right? Maybe Jack Nicklaus can do that, but
Ah,
very few people are at that level, right? So the better model is somebody more like JJ Watt who put in big chunks of his own money, but more importantly, leveraged that for more, right? When you look at hurricane relief, so he put in $1 million, but he raised
sure.
a lot of millions of dollars.
Well, look at Flutie Flakes, for example, because Doug's one of my favorite people. Raised $30 million when they started, and I know his agent very well. His goal was maybe we'll get $30,000. And because Doug is a participant and hyper engaged in the charity, because it's personal to him and his purpose is so great, they raised over $30 million for Flutie Flakes. And so when we have productivity, accessibility, and gratitude involved in the engagement in helping other people, and I can't stress enough that we have to look at the purpose and get them aligned with the purpose first. Because as you know, in philanthropy, there's plenty of pain. And if that purpose isn't greater than the pain and raising money, continually grow a foundation and helping people, they're going to quit. When we can get them to utilize their superpower, a desire that they must be what they can be, no lack of commitment. When you get someone like Austin Eckler, who was 6 on the
Austin's
depth chart,
great. He was with us last year on Radio
he'll
Row.
probably swing by today because we're with him and I'll make sure.
Great. I'd love to.
But his purpose is always greater than his pain. That's how you go from the 6 man on the depth chart to an all pro and an internationally known superstar.
Well, and you take somebody like that, he's a perfect example. You don't have to be the top of the mountain, the king of the mountain. We talk all the time that if you've got that platform as a professional athlete, you have a stage where you can influence people. But as you said, it takes your involvement. It's not something that happens by osmosis. It's not something that just because I put my name up there, money's going to come pouring in. Every year we get dozens of people coming to us and telling us, well, I got my 501c3 status now, so now the floodgates will open and the dollars will come in. And we know that that's just the beginning. Now people can make a donation, can get a deduction, but that's not why. They don't give to you because you have your 501c3 status. They give to you because they believe in your mission they believe in your heart, they believe in the impact that you're creating.
Yeah, the mission has to come first. So many people, as you stated, they go and search for the commission, for the donation, instead of the mission allows the commissions to follow. And it builds a community. And look at our relationship, almost 20 years we've been together. And look at how big the communities have become. Why? Because we show up every day. Even when we have other things to do, we just said with my wife, with my Julie, and I'm like, oh yeah, Roy saw you in Orange County. He had a whole nother event in Anaheim, but he took the time to show up for an hour because, and most people won't do that, Roy. And because, but I've seen athletes like Marshall Falk and Austin Eckler and some of the guys that I work with, Ray Lewis,
Yep.
all of these guys, they show up. Mike Tannenbaum, a law school
Yep.
friend of mine, he shows up. And I want to encourage everyone that's out there that has some sort of influence or impact to show up because you'll build a community of people that want to help each other and know people that'll help each other. And that's powerful.
Well, that showing up element is key. Last night we were at Ditka's cigar party, and we're with some uh, partners from KPMG, and we're having this conversation. Like, you've got to be in the room. If you come to New Orleans and you come and sit at a table here on Radio Row, or you're like, yeah, I'm just going to sleep and I'm just going to stay in my hotel room for the morning, instead of walking around here where you've got hundreds and hundreds of great people to meet, you just need to be somewhere. You'll meet somebody. You don't know who you're going to meet. You walk down that way, you miss the people that were over here. You walk that way, you'll miss the people that on that aisle. You can't see everybody, but I told my students at Northwestern all the time, go places, be places, get involved, volunteer, because your opportunity to learn and grow goes up exponentially when you put yourself in that sphere.
No doubt. When I started in the industry, I was in technology and venture. That's why I got hired by Lee Steinberg, not because I'm a great lawyer, although I am a lawyer. The reason I got hired was Lee saw in the mid 2000s the future of sports and venture and technology. I was Samsung's CEO of their data division who had a background in technology and raised hundreds of millions of dollars. So I entered the sports world all those years ago, and most people called me Lee's guy. And then I partnered with Warren Moon, started Sports One Marketing. I was Warren's guy. I didn't have a goddamn name, Roy. And I came here, as you know, 15, 20 interviews a day. First one in, last one to leave, making and having an impact, sharing my ideas at my essence, unabashedly getting better at feeling okay about saying, hey, this is what I believe in. Let's appreciate our differences if you don't, but I'm here to impact other people, to impact other people. And now going from me begging people to get on their show, now I can walk down the middle of the aisle and I can't get here on time because I built a community of people that want to help each other and they want to talk to me and they know my name and my face.
Well, you need to tell Nick that he's got to stop sleeping 3, 4 hours a night, Super Bowl week. You know, he's got to get the schedule locked in there. So, David, thank you so much for coming on with us. We'd love to have you fill out a card for
Absolutely.
our wall of philanthropy. And for all of our viewers and listeners, thank you for joining us live from Radio Row at Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. This is Roy Kessel signing off for Sports Philanthropy Network. Please remember to live generously.